very good morning to you all and a warm welcome to Views, People and News here on 933 KFM this Saturday, the 12th of July 2025. It's 6 minutes past 9 o'clock. My name is Judith Atim, and today on the show we are discussing political party mass mobilization and funding. And of course, as you all know, in any vibrant democracy, political parties serve as crucial conduits for public opinion, shaping policy and driving national development. But how exactly do these parties truly connect with the masses, galvanizing support and transforming it into tangible action? And perhaps even more critically, how do they fuel these extensive operations from grassroots campaigns to national rallies? Today we'll peel back the layers to examine the strategies parties employ to mobilize citizens, from rallies and door-to-door campaigns to the ever-evolving landscape of digital outreach. We'll also unpack the complex and often controversial topic of party funding. Where does the money come from? How transparent are these financial flows? And what impact does it all have on the integrity of our political landscape? Join us as we explore these vital questions with our insightful guests and, of course, your valuable contributions as our listeners. We shall be looking forward to that. So let's get the conversation started, of course, by, first of all, introducing my two guests who are already here. I'll let you know about the others. Mr. Nambale Sentongo Ashraf, Secretary General of the National Peasants Party. Warm welcome to the show.
Thank you, my sister.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you.
What's up with the Peasants Party? First of all, congratulations.
Thank you very much. National Peasants Party is now the newly launched new political platform. Of course, it has been existing for since 2004. It was registered around 2004 when we went into the multi-party dispensation. And as you see, a number of parties have come in the same style. You remember the National Unity Platform came into force like we have come. The Democratic Alliance came into force in the same way. And I'm seeing other political platforms also coming in the same way. These are parties that have been filing their returns in line with the laws of Uganda. When you look at the Political Parties and Organization Act, it provides that every political party must always file its returns, and to qualify to be legitimate, you must have at least filed your returns for each and every financial year. This is why we now, the National Peasants Party, qualify to be one of the legitimate party and the parties in Uganda on the floor of the Ugandan politics.
Thank you. And
we want to, first of all, assure every Ugandan that now we are here to write a new history of Uganda with our new symbol of a pen. When you look at our logo, like I said yesterday at the launch, it has a pen writing on a paper with a clock pasted around it, insinuating that we are now here to write a new Uganda. We need to revise where we went wrong. You know that the politics of Uganda has actually gone astray.
But Mr. Sentongo, I just wanted to just welcome you. We're going to delve into that discussion a little later. Yeah, we'll be talking a little more about what you are doing in your various parties or formations, but I will come in a little later.
Thank you.
Let me also take this opportunity to welcome my other guest, Mr. David Musiri, member of the National Unity Platform Party. He's also an aspiring MP for Machindia West constituency. Good to have you on the show, Mr. Musiri.
Good morning, team, and dear listeners. It is a pleasure to have me here. We missed you on the last show I was here, but probably that is what we are going to dive into, because it is it's just a continuation of the same discussion.
Pretty much, yeah.
You remember the last time we were here, we were still discussing about these other amendments, and now here we are. The amendments have now started to be put in practice. Mm-hmm. So that's where we are. But to the dear Ugandans, I want to send my greetings to them, and also appreciate we have sports going on at Mess Ground by Kanta Football League, where I have a team. Therefore, I want to convey my thanks to the organization, also to the organization of the pitch, Mess. I want to salute them. It is, and mostly to the spectators who come from all ends. It is big, it is massive. And I want to thank them for always being fun.
Thank you, Mr. Musiri. Of course, I'm expecting two other guests. Honorable Ibrahim Kasozi, former Machinje East MP. He's also an aspiring Lord Mayor. He's a Lord Mayor aspirant. And Engineer Ian Chune, who is a former Wakiso District Chairman. I'll let you know as soon as they walk in and join us. But in the meantime, to the two of you, let's just take a look or take a listen to some of the big stories that made it in the news this week. First of all, the NRM party primaries for contenders on the various positions have continued, starting from last weekend till Monday. We saw lots of reports and scenes of violence in Isinjiro, Rwampara, and Mubende districts. On Monday, the police indicated it had arrested 16 people, while the NRM Electoral Commission also suspended campaigns in Isinjiro South and Bwamba County. The Inspector General of Police, Abbas Byakagaba, held a security meeting in Sembabule district on Monday as the chairperson of the NRM Electoral Commission, Dr. Tanga Odoi, hosted contenders for Isinjiro and Mubende seats at his office. On Tuesday, the People's Front for Freedom held its convention in which the substantive party leadership was unveiled under the chairmanship of Arias Lukwago, while incarcerated Dr. Kiza Besigye was appointed chairperson of the Elders Council. Still on Tuesday, President Yoweri Museveni hosted a meeting with representatives of the Inter-Party Organization for Dialogue at State House, Nakasero. On Wednesday, it emerged that the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, who is also the DP President, Honorable Norbert Mao, had written to the Electoral Commission instructing it to hold the release of funds to parties which are not members of the IPOD or who are members but have ceased to meet. And President Yoweri Museveni also spent the better part of this week on his wealth creation PDM tours in Wakiso district, where he held rallies and engaged various groups, especially the women and the youth. He has used the tours to give them more financial boost while urging them to vote for NRM candidates in the upcoming general elections. Yesterday, that's Friday, the president graced the World Population Day celebrations in Kayunga district. And on the international scene on Wednesday, the U.S. President Donald Trump hosted leaders from 5 African countries as he escalates a trade war that could impact developing countries reliant on commerce with the U.S. Trump hosted leaders from Gabon, Guinea-Bissau, Liberia, Mauritania, and Senegal at the White House for talks and a working lunch, with discussions expected to center on business opportunities. Trump said the 5 countries were unlikely to face U.S. tariffs. Over to you, gentlemen. Your quick thoughts randomly on 1 or 2 or 3 issues that you think stand out for you and that you would just like to respond to. I'll start with you, Msiri.
Yeah, for me, I'll pick up the violence in the NRM primaries. I think it is time. You see, the Baganda have a saying that I don't know if even or Tim, you know how to translate that.
You could help me. You could help me do that.
Even the one that even your kids can drum for you and you dance. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I basically think that NRM, it is time that they need to borrow a leaf from the National Unity Platform on how we do our processes. For now, we are under harmonization, and of course, I think it is very, very deliberate that some people, because of egos and because of lack of checks and balances in some of the institutions, just like NRM is, you need to sit them down. People need to harmonize sometimes before things go worse. Basically, I just imagine if these, for example, the Sechikubo and the general, and for some of the questions we always ask, when did we reach here? That one does not retire, he comes in the politics as a general, he has all the instructions, actually he can deploy the army in his campaigns. You see, that's where we say that institutions are breaking down seriously, and there are no checks and balances. And now sometimes you even ask yourself, what is the work of the Independent Electoral Commission? Because even when it is the primaries of NRM, the Electoral Commission should be concerned because they are a regulator. If we go to the field and there is no regulation, for example, things have happened. The kind of violence that happened in Imbarara during DP, a delegates conference, and as if things are normal, no one is talking about it, no one is supposed to answer apart from a few people that ran to courts, which courts are also on trial, you know. So sometimes it baffles me. Now we are like in a country where everyone can do whatever they want to do. One who has powers to kill you at any time, you know. That's how life is taken, you know. So for me it is a litmus paper to show us, actually to test on what we are going for. And Ugandans should be prepared, because where two, as people say, where two elephants fight, it is us, the grass, that suffer. It is you, the people. The citizens that are going to suffer at the end of the day. So it is very, very unfortunate, but we believe that they should now start copying on other things. Maybe they do harmonization or do vetting, as we are doing in the National Unity Platform.
Okay.
Yeah.
So before I come to you, Mr. Sentongo, just very quickly, and this ties into what we're talking about today. On Monday, NUP, you guys launched your fundraising drive, right?
Yeah.
To help finance the party activities. How is it going? Could you just talk about that briefly? Because I know we're going to delve a little deeper into that a little later.
Yeah, I think it is going well. Of course, the turn-up is very positive by look of things. And probably I've had a lot of questions, and maybe it is because of lack of awareness in this country that people don't know that fundraising is one of the principles of the campaign, actually fundamental principles of the campaign. Even when a team, you are given a card, then you run a GoFundMe. This is what we are doing. And in any revolution, for example, even if it is an armed revolution, always Ugandans or citizens of the country, that is the way they can become part of the activity, part of the politics of the country. So for me, I want to appreciate whoever has come out to contribute, and please, we appreciate you, and we call for more people to come. You don't need to be NUP to contribute to NUP. For example, for the fundraising, you can. We welcome everyone.
So the 9 billion target, is it too ambitious? Is it sufficient? Are you hopeful that you'll actually be able to mobilize that amount in the next few months to elections? Pretty much 6 months to the coming elections.
Yeah, I think the fundraising will not stop in the middle way. It is a it is going to be
ongoing even after elections.
Even after elections, because the campaign does not end with the elections. The aftermath is also very important, and we must prepare for the aftermath in the current situation of Uganda.
Thank you. My guest, engineer, is in the house. Engineer Ian Chiyune. You're most welcome. He's the former Wakiso District Chairman. contesting again for the same position. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been a while since I last had you here on the show, but I'm pleased to have you here today again.
Well, I don't know whom you settle with when I'm not here. I thought I would be a regular.
No, there's so many people, so we have to rotate.
Sorry, I'm happy to see my brothers here. And, of course, you, the beautiful one, the only beautiful lady in the nation.
Oh, really?
And I'm sure that if the world doesn't know you, at least I know you.
Thank you, Engineer.
And I'm also happy to know that there are many people outside there who are listening to us.
Thank you. Appreciate. So let me come to you, Mr. Sentongo. Your quick thoughts, of course, about the highlights, the key things that stand out for you during this last 6 days or so.
First of all, I want to welcome my brother, Ian Chewine. It's quite a long time. I have taken some good years. How are you, Mr. Ian?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm also happy to see you developing even beyond the norm.
Thank you.
Yes.
Now, there is a political question Mr. Musiri raised here. How did we reach here? A situation where we no longer have sanity of elections. You are seeing political parties now riding over constitutionalism. Not only in NRM, when you saw what happened in Mbarara, delegates conference, you see what is now happening in the part of my senior brother here, NRM. You have been seeing the youth elections. In fact, I'm surprised why Mr. Musiri does not talk about what happened.
Because they've talked about it severally, I think.
We need to give it more attention because the breed of Uganda is through those youth elections. If we don't streamline the discipline of elections, we are nowhere to go. When you look at what is happening in the NRM primaries, I'm even wondering if the Political Parties and Organizations Act no longer apply. All parties must work in line with that law because it is the law that was enrooted from Objective 2 of the 1995 Constitution, which provided that, which provides that we must work through a democratic principle. And if we don't work in line with that, then we are astray. I am worried if I see people fighting in an election in such a manner. People are dying. I saw people putting cars on bridges. I saw people hitting themselves with bars. Their parties now, we are talking about mobilization. We are mobilizing funds, but we still have internal grievances of which we don't have now a decision at. So we, as the National Peasants Party, new on the scene, we need now to come on the scene with a new strategy of professionalism, such that people must be included in building structures right from the grassroots. These elections are only just for a one day, but the Uganda we are living in must exist for a long time. This is why we say, even when you are messing, you need to look at the doctrine of foreseeability and know where you are heading this country. I am seeing people messing, even in their speeches, towards their fellow brothers in the play. I was asking myself, why would you attack a fellow politician who has come on board? I know, Mr. Ian, you have seen very many giants come and go, but the politics still stays. That is why we say we need to bring sanity back in the politics of what? Uganda. So, to me, fundraising, like my brothers said, is paramount, and it is part of the principles of empowering a party. Of course, you cannot survive. There are parties that do not have members in the political wing of parliament. And the iPod that was before facilitating parties looks at the what?
The numbers,
the numerical
representation,
numbers
yes.
in the parliament. Unlike this current new bill, I don't know if Mr. Musiri, you have addressed your mind with it. When you look at the National Consultative Forum, as per the amendment, I am aware that the members of political parties, different political parties, when they were consulted, they rose their concern to the Speaker of Parliament. And I am aware they are going to start putting into consideration when giving out accountability on budgeting. Parties, even if they are not represented, they must be funded by government. Because this money that you people are getting is actually taxpayers' money. It is not for Mr. Ian Chewino. It is not for Mr. Museveni. It is money got from the consolidated fund. So this new bill, where each party must be a member of the National Consultative Forum and later subscribe to be a member of IPOD, it is in line to watch space on how political parties can be facilitated, such that they should have life in manning, constructing grassroots structures, and so many other things. Mm-hmm. This is why, you see, when you look at the law, each law has limitations. And for these parties to fundraise, there is a limit of money you are supposed to collect through fundraising.
Mm-hmm.
Or fundraising. And the question is that money enough for people to go and look for support all over the whole country? Mm-hmm. Because if one is supposed to look for not more than 400 million, as per the established laws, is that money enough for a political party to survive?
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Let me come to you, Engineer. I don't know if you were listening to us in the car while you were driving up here.
It's a bit complicated.
It's a bit complicated. Okay. So we were basically still looking at the key events that happened during the week, and I was just asking for views. But I think what has stood out from your colleagues is the NRM party primaries and the violence, actually. And I think belonging to, as someone who belongs to the NRM, I would also like to hear your thoughts about this kind of violence. We're not seeing it the first time. We saw it just recently during the youth elections, and now we are seeing this again in Western Uganda and parts of Central. Just very quickly.
Well, I would like to thank my brothers for giving their voice to another party which they don't belong to, which means they are concerned about national politics, which is part of them and is part of NRM. Indeed, as you all know, NRM is a mass party. And as a mass party, it always has challenges of so many people coming in without being scrutinized to any level. Someone can say, I'm the best candidate. And no one says you are not the best until the voters say no. So what is happening in this country is very clear, that there are so many of our people who have seen politics as a source of living. Time has passed when some people came in to serve. When I left school, I sat under a big responsibility with a gentleman who was a politician, but a very big businessman. This is late Sebana Chizito. With or without politics, Mr. Sebana Chizito, may his soul rest in peace, would survive even much better. So when I was learning under his armpit the political rhyme which I started with, in line with what do you do, what is the purpose of a politician, I learned quite a lot that politics is to serve people, not to earn a living. But today, when you look at our people, politics has become a source of living. Some people have nothing else they are doing when they become politicians. You have seen councillors. They sit at the district headquarters. even when they know that they are not full-time workers. You have seen people who have resolved to use most of their time. You hear they are here, they are there, they are just politicking. The difference between me and many other people who are similar to me is that our professionals stand even when you are a politician. I remember when I was building Shore House, I was a councillor in Impiji district, and I could get a day off, tell my boss, today we have a council in Impiji, and then I would go. When I was the engineer for Mandela Stadium, the late Baramaze Rwanga, may he so rest in peace, I used to inform him, today we have a council in Impiji. I would rush in the last minutes, reach when they are opening, and as soon as they closed, I would drive off and come back. You would find some people who arrived as early as 7, and they are leaving as late as evening, and because most of their time, politics was the source of living. Now, that kind of thinking has created another scenario. People think that if you fail, you have failed in life. So they are doing everything. They are fighting tooth and nail to make sure that they win. In the process, challenges fall in. Mm-hmm. There's no way you can survive if you think that you are going to live on politics. And if someone is going to win you, that means that's the end of your life. Then people fight up to their death. Secondary, people have been pulled to think that when you are supporting someone, then you should support them until you lose your life. Some people almost behave like that. I tell my people, if you support me for a cause. Yeah. Don't support me because I must win even when I'm not the best. But some people fail to understand that some of their candidates, they are not as good as the other candidate. So in the process, when the other candidate is almost surpassing them, doing so much better, they want to return it by fighting, to silence them, by even engaging into the new rhyme of a gari. And then the fight starts from there. Why? Because people think that when you win, then they will be able to sweep your office. Mm-hmm. Even when they cannot get any big job, they say, if I cannot get a big job there, even sweeping, no kwera kuna nema. So you find that people are like, if he doesn't win, then I will not get the job. Of course, the challenges fall in. Some people would say, it's because your government has not given the youth enough jobs. Indeed, jobs have never been enough all over the world. I've got an opportunity to travel. What happens is that you must have a mindset which is proactive towards involving yourself into any area which can give you some income in your home. Mm-hmm. Because being poor and being rich is subjective. Someone with 2 goats in his family can start thinking about becoming rich. So the challenge of politics in Uganda, one is because as a mass party, we have so many people who want to stand in the same position. Because of that, there are challenges of people who think if they don't win, it's automatic that they have lost their life. So they almost want to die into it. You have seen me. Every time I go into these elections and the challenges come in, I just walk out and go and mix my sand and cement and concrete and build your houses, build your malls, because that's my profession. So if we change our system and we start thinking that politics should not be for those who have totally lost what they are doing or they have totally nothing to do, then there is going to be an opportunity. Then secondary, internally in these parties, there are still also other challenges. Some people are getting involved, not because they are members of that party, but because they are coming in to make sure that the final candidate from that party who stands on the ticket is a weaker one, so that when they come with their own candidate, they can win that weak candidate. Mm-hmm. So such people also can come in and turn the whole election rowdy. And you think that they are members of that party, whereas actually they are coming in to vote for a party member who is weaker so that when time comes for the final elections, they can be able to win them. This has happened in most of these regions.
Thank you, Engineer. Let's take a break and then we will return and delve into the heart of our discussion. That's political party mass mobilization and funding. This is VPN. Welcome back from the break. It's 20 minutes to 10 o'clock. My name is Judith Atim. This is Views, People and News here on 933 KFM. We are discussing political party mass mobilization and funding with Engineer Ian Cheyune, Mr. David Musiri, and Mr. Nambale Sentongo Ashraf. Sharif, yes. Secretary General of the National Peasants Party. Mr. Musiri is from the National Unity Platform Party. He's also an aspiring MP for Machindia West, while Engineer Cheyune is the former Wakiso District Chairman. He's contesting again for the same position. From
National Movement, Resistance Movement.
NRM, yes, it's from the NRM, the ruling NRM. But before we delve into that, I forgot to actually mention this earlier. Here at the Nation Media Group family, we are in mourning. We just lost one of our colleagues, Henry Mulindwa, on Wednesday. Mr. Mulindwa was a supplements editor. He was buried on Thursday in Muduma. Of course, it was really shocking, and we're still saddened, really, because he had the previous day been on duty. But before even the staff get out of this tragic incident, yet again, death has robbed us here in the NMG family of another staff member, Aloysius Atwine, who has been a camera videographer attached to the TV business desk. And both Aloysius and Henry have died due to kidney-related complications. It's very, very sad. Aloysius died today. Burial arrangements will be communicated. Of course, we deeply condole with the families of the deceased colleagues. May their souls rest in peace. Now, as we move to our conversation, of course, we have this letter from the Honorable Justice Minister, which I'll read shortly, to the Electoral Commission directing the EC to hold the release of funding to political parties. We also have NUP launching their fundraising drive this week. We have more parties being unveiled. The National Peasants Party of Sharif here. They chose Stacia Mayanja, a musician, as their party president. We shall, of course, also talk a little bit about that. Then we have the PFF holding their convention this week after 1 month of existence. Next week, on Tuesday, we have another party coming in. Mubarak Munyagwa is launching the Common Man's Party, and the swearing-in ceremony will be on Tuesday. They'll be swearing in newly elected leaders of the Common Man's Party at Jacaranda Gardens in Rubaga. We'll be discussing all these issues. But let me just take a look at this letter. Let me just read this letter that the Honourable Minister wrote to the Electoral Commission. Let's see. I can't get a hold of it right now. I think I'll just have to ask Stephen if you could just resend me. I think I seem to have lost or misplaced it somewhere. But of course, in that letter, like I mentioned earlier, the minister said the EC should hold funding to. Okay, here it is. So this was written on 2nd July. And the Justice Minister wrote this to the Electoral Commission Chairperson, Honorable Justice Simon Biwakama. RE guidance on disbursement of funds to political parties represented in Parliament pursuant to the Political Parties and Organizations Amendment Act. And he says on the 15th of June 2025, the President of the Republic of Uganda assented to the Political Parties and Organizations Amendment Act. This act restricts government funding to only political parties that are members of the IPOD, like Sharif said earlier, which is now a formal organ for parties with representation in Parliament. Specifically, the new law states that notwithstanding subsection 1, government shall only provide funds or other public resources to a political party or organization referred to in subsection 1 if the political party or organization is a member of the Inter-Party Organization for Dialogue and participates in activities of IPOD. I'm currently carrying out consultations with stakeholders, and I expect the president, who in his capacity as the chairman of NRM, chairs the IPOD summit, to convene the IPOD summit to seek convergence on the best way to institutionalize IPOD. My consultation started today, that was 2nd July, with a meeting with the IPOD council members. The minister goes on to say the purpose of this letter is to emphasize the fact that with the coming into force of the new law, the EC has no legal basis for disbursing funds to political parties. In the circumstances, I request you not to disburse any funds to political parties until you hear from me. I undertake to conclude the necessary consultations and the processing of the statutory instruments envisaged by the new law within 3 weeks. That's pretty much probably by 20-something, maybe next week or so. I think the minister will be done with his consultations. So just very quickly, the disbursement of funds, but also I want to hear your thoughts. This emergence of parties and so on. Mr. Cheyune, you were saying this, the hunger for jobs and opportunities and so on. Could this be one of the drivers fueling the emergence and birth of new parties and organizations that we are seeing? Because I don't think the Common Man's Party will be the last that we shall see. Perhaps a week or so we shall see another party emerging. What is driving these parties? Is it genuine politics to serve Ugandans, or is it fueled by the need and quest for money?
Well, it's a multi-faced kind of challenge. As you can see, there are so many internal squabbles within the parties. And similarly, most of these people you see who are opening up new parties have either been quiet members of another party because of internal challenges which have almost looked like they are not coming to agree with some of the issues which they are actually facing in those parties. They have come out to think that it is another opportunity to open a new party. But also, when Bobby Wine, always known as Bobby Wine, but Mr. Kyagulanyi, when he came out with NUP, it was a big shock to the nation, especially after coming out and coming to be the top contender on the job of the president, in line with the number of members of parliament and the support he got. It opened eyes to many people, and they said, I think I can make it. I think we can do it. You can see that now almost everybody is saying, if Kyagulanyi can do it, why not me? Internally, they are not saying it openly, but internally you can see them building from that point of view, that if Kyagulanyi can do it, some people think that they are even much better than him, to the extent that even those who joined him still think that, well, if you did it, we can also open our own. Internal squabbles in parties can never stop. But if you don't have a way of solving your challenges, then automatically you have to be mutilated. What you are seeing in FDC is just a challenge of managing internal challenges in their parties. Then secondly, it could be politics. You know, in politics, there are so many ways of solving your challenges. If one party is disturbing you, the best solution is to make sure all people are divided into different parties, so that at the end of the day, there is no party which emerges to be as big as when you leave them to remain together. Who knows? Some of these could be a work of some people who are thinking either NRM is too big and they're encouraging people from NRM to start their own parties, or who think that DP is big or NUP is big. It's either way. Even when DP sits down, for instance, if I was in DP, and you see that NUP took almost all your members, the best solution is to make sure that those who believed in you formerly, they can be cut off, either by using your internal division system, or by directly contacting them to make their own parties. But what is important is that Uganda has had many parties which are not coming out openly. At the time of registering parties, more than 30 parties were registered in this country. But most of them are quiet. They don't have members of parliament, and therefore it is not easy even to know that they exist. For instance, this NOP with Chibalama, it was there. No one knew it. No one even thought that it is there. I know Chibalama very well.
Even ours, the National Peasants Party.
Yes.
It's been there since before.
Now, when you hear my brother Munyagwa opening up a Common Man's Party, I don't think he's opening up something different from what they had in 1950s. It was there. It emerged as UPC. But we all know that this Common Man's Party started as early 1958, something there. So what is it? To me, I think it's not bad to have as many parties as possible, as long as their aims are geared towards developing the nation, assisting the nation to go the right direction, and at the end of the day, guiding the ruling party. Because the best way to deal with the ruling party is to have other opposing parties to give their views towards different political and issues of policy which are necessary for national building. What I can see now is that they are really doing it at the last minute of almost the next election. And I think this is not really helping them a lot. Because if people were serious, they would have started much earlier than this. But of course, when I say if they are serious, it means they are not. But that's not what I mean. I mean, if you want to get an election seriously geared towards your party, the first thing you would think of is to start as early as possible, start to talk to your people, and then reduce that last-minute action. However, we don't know what process they have gone through. Some of these parties take long to be allowed to be registered or to be recognized. For those which have been there, like my brother said here, I think maybe they are just wakening up their people so that they get ready for the next elections. I get concerned when we start thinking about some parties being out of iPod, when actually we all know that this is an organization for parties. It's like you must be registered to be regarded as a party in the nation. When you get an opportunity to be in the parliament, then automatically it's an automatic entry. Your absence should be properly explained. Otherwise, you cannot say, I'm not in, because it's an automatic thing. You don't have to register as long as you have members of parliament in there. So such challenges, I think our brothers who are not there should properly explain to their people. Otherwise, if the minister is stopping resources to be given, for him is following the law. As soon as the president assents to any law, then automatically it becomes a responsibility of the enforcement team, the minister being the champion. At the end of the day, I believe he's playing his role. And I want to think that the opposition in particular, because I know National Resistance Movement Organization is part of IPOD, the opposition must also remember that laws are passed for a purpose. Next time they come into power, the laws will continue to be passed by their members who will be more in numbers than the others. So the best solution would have been to stop this law at the time of inception in terms of parliament, debate on floor and so on. If they fail to do that, then they should succumb to the challenges and agree to continue. After all,
thank you.
The resources are there. Thank
you, Mr. Chene. Mr. Sentongo, over to you. Let's talk about the National Peasants Party, which you unveiled yesterday. Your party has been in existence for 20 years.
Yes.
But you've been inactive. And then, boom, yesterday, you're in everyone's faces. You have seasoned politicians amongst yourselves, including you. You were the chairman for the Democratic Party here in Kampala. And a lot of your colleagues are seasoned and senior at that. So the question is, why would you settle for a musician, a celebrity, a complete political novice in the names of Station Mayanja? How far do you think this party is going? Also, are you in this, is it for the money? Or is it genuine politics to serve Ugandans?
First of all, if it were for money, I would be in the Democratic Party right now. I defected away from the Democratic Party after we departed the ideologies. Because for us, we joined the Democratic Party for a reason. Having run away from what we thought was right into the ideology of the Democratic Party, we decided to go away. Now, today we have a Minister of the Constitutional Affairs and Justice, the Right Honorable Norbert Mao, President of the Democratic Party, who doesn't respect the rule of law. You see what happened in Mbarara. However, me, as a person who was once the former chairman of Kampala, I put my tools of power down in 2021 and started to think where to go, because I needed to have a party that could accommodate my ideologies. It took me time to decide. Many of my brothers in the national platform have been giving me an invite, but I could not, because we don't share ideologies. In the national FDC, people have been there calling us, but we could not, until when we went and sat as a team to reorganize ourselves. You know, the processes of registering a new political party in Uganda is a hard nut for one to crack. We went through that process for quite a long time, until when we went on a plan B. We had to look for a party that did not have any bad record behind it. You know, parties are there, but its founders could associate illegalities with themselves. So we said, no, let's look for a better positioned party. Now, we had to go through the nitty-gritties of unveiling a party without any hindrances. And I am seeing problems. You wait what you are going to see some other weeks to come. For us, we had to first of all sit down, have a delegates conference, resolve on amending the Constitution as a whole. Because 23 years from the time of registration are too many years. The constitutions of parties needed to be reviewed, revised, and amended.
Yeah, but over these 2 decades, what has NPP been doing?
Of course, like I would ask you, what was the NUP doing before it was unveiled? Parties were registered in 2004. Basically, because we were going into a multi-party dispensation. And maybe people by then who registered them had different reasons as to why they were registering them, until new people came into force. Now we have more ideologies to take on these parties. This is why you are now talking about the National Peasants Party, because it has got now new players. And you asked, why did we choose the Madam President, the Honorable Stacia Mayanja? It is not a will of one person. It is a decision of many. This party must act democratically, and the will of the people of the National Peasants Party was that they elect Madame Stacia Mayanja as their president. And to inform now the public, Madame Stacia is the president of the National Peasants Party. She even took oath yesterday. So he's going to lead us in this transitional era. And I want to call upon every disgruntled politician. It is now time to come on board. Because for us, we believe in the rule of law.
Thank you, Mr. Sentogo. So we are talking about mass mobilization and funding with just 6 months or so to the general elections. What does that look like for
National Peasants Party?
Yes, NPP.
Of course, we have open strategies and open strategies. For us as the Secretariat, we are now going to sit down, invite you as the media, and unveil to you our plans for unveiling our funding strategies. It would be unreasonable if it has not come up as a resolution. We took oath yesterday, and we, as now, the new political players on the floor, we need to first of all have our first neck, sit down, decide, have a resolution decided, and we shall now unveil it to you, because we are acquitted and well aware of how we are going to mobilize those monies, those funds. And you see, people thought we did not have numbers. Yesterday we had almost 1,000 people on the unveil, and people were surprised. How did that come? And now the National Peasants Party is before Ugandans to determine. Because I was telling people that 92% of Ugandans is actually peasants, but they don't know. Because if you cannot now accommodate yourself the necessities that a human, reasonable man would need, why don't you call and why don't you associate yourself with this new political party called what? A peasant family. Now, I want to talk about the retrospective rule of the national decision of the minister you read there. You see, we have the retrospective doctrine. When a law is passed, it doesn't work backwards. It must start to work going what? In front. When it was decided that the political parties that are beneficiaries on the iPod must be now members of the NCF, it is the National Consultative Forum. National Consultative Forum, I am aware that the National Unity Platform is already a member of what? National Consultative Forum, under a representative of Honorable Katana, because he was declared at the NUP. But now, the claimant that people don't benefit, that is where the problem comes. In the image of the public, people are saying we don't get the iPod what? Money. And the mechanisms of equity are very clear. He who comes for equity must come with clean what?
Clean hands.
Clean hands. You were saying we are not going to get the money. But you have attained it 4 times. You understand?
Speak to the microphone.
Because we are now having a resolution of iPod that all political parties in the last term of the office shall share equal monies. You understand? Because when you go to Jema now, you go to PPP of Honorable Bidandi, there, everyone is now warming up to get the 7.5 billion. Because every political party now who has been a member of iPod is going to benefit equally on the monies of iPod. But there are political parties that have actually told the Ugandans that for them they have never benefited the iPod what? Money. And they are showing the public that they have not and they have never got the iPod monies until when the government wishes to unaddress them. Okay? It is now a point of contention. Are we going to benefit? Because this is now the predicament. If they are going, let them open up that we are going to join the fruits of what? iPod. And the Ugandans will also understand that this money is not given to people as a bribe. It is their responsibility to offer that what? Because this is a Commonwealth country. iPod, initially it had come as an NGO to facilitate political parties that have life in parliament. When they talked about numerical strength, iPod was incumbent to facilitate, aid those political parties on building structure from village levels to national character. Now, if now the monies that were supposed to be given to us through an NGO called the iPod, the government is seeing that it is now going to attach that iPod into now an established law. Because initially, the law that was attaching the political party management was through the NCF. This entity is now called, led by former minister called who? Is NRM now? Is it I remember I remember the name. But as for now, if the law was not favorable to the to the existing government, and the government sees it would be fit for iPod to be enshrined with the NCF. They had to call up an amendment and put it into the Political Parties and Organization Act. It is now a law that all parties must be members of NCF and later subscribe to what?
To iPod,
and must be present
in Parliament. Thank you, Mr. Sentongo. Let me come to you, Musiri. But before I come to you, just for the benefit of our listeners, Stephen Bide, my producer, has just given me this information that the Common Man's Party, which is to be launched, is evolving from the Uganda Economic Party. We also have the Democratic Front, which also recently unveiled Matthias Mpuga as the president. It also evolved from the Green Partisan Party. We see Honorable Mohamed Nsereko also recently crossing to the Ecological Party, which has appointed him party president when he joined. That's just background information that still ties in with what we are discussing. David, NUP is not a member of iPod, okay, but you continue to get funding from the Electoral Commission because you have members. You're the largest opposition party. Honorable Mao says the EC should hold disbursement of funds, and certainly NUP will be affected here if that happens. Did you, as a party, foresee this move, especially coming after the passing of the bill that perhaps has pushed you to start this fundraising drive to have some good financial capabilities? But also, in terms of certainty, the fundraising drive is not really certain on how much you can actually get. I know you have a target for 9 billion, but like we see the ceiling for, it's about 400 million, not so. I don't know how you intend to also to navigate this. Then, as we also talk about violence in the NRM party primaries, we're also seeing NUP members very busy exchanging words on social media, not in the physical world. But we know the line is quite blurred. That the sentiments that people share on social media oftentimes play out in the physical world. Your response, starting with the issue of financing, but also if you could talk about transparency, because I think Sentongo was talking about it, and that's also an important issue, how transparent parties should be in terms of declaring when they receive money and how much they receive.
I think we need to go back to where we're having a conversation in the same studio last time about Honorable Nakuti Faith's amendment bill. And our conversation was around the intent. It was very, very important and prudent for Ugandans to know what was the spirit behind the amendment. And we had several questions. I remember we had here the spokesperson of the caucus of NRM,
Mr. Brandon,
and himself, Brandon, said, of course, he lost control in the same show, and we have facts in the same conversations. So we shall go back to and I want to help my elder brothers here in the studio to let them know that even when that amendment bill was passed, it violated a lot of rules, even the rules of procedure. If you remember, for example, I don't want to see comrade and senior comrade here, Ian, saying that, for example, when laws are passed, then we should go by the laws. We know that if you were following, you saw one of the iPod member, Akena, who is president of UPC, stood in Parliament, on floor Parliament, and banged the tables. Almost he was denied space to speak about the same. But what does the rules of procedure say? That for a bill to be passed or to be amended should be given over 45 days. The prudence of the 45 days, the prudence of the period is for people to give their submissions. It's should interact with the stakeholders who was interacted with. So it is very, very important. So when there is raid and rape of our constitution, and people are in this studio, and we see them as our elders, trying to massage impunity is wrong. And that's misleading a generation. Because we know that the constitution would be the manual of a country, of how affairs should be run. And that's why it was very, very, very prudent for the framers of our constitution, sat well and created the preamble of the constitution because of where we have come from as a country, Uganda. And this is where we are going. And the problems that we are seeing today, and people are beating around the bush, I'm telling you, they are orchestrated by the government itself. Because one, maybe they have failed to lead the country or to serve as an example of this country. For example, when we look at this very amendment bill, we see it trying to impose iPod on every political party. We have an umbrella, the National Consultative Forum, where our representation has always been, it has not started by Katana Benjamin. It started by Mugisha, the late, our former president, Western, Jory Mugisha, was our representative in the National Consultative Forum. And NRM offers the chairperson of the forum. Then you impose to us iPod, which came as an NGO, which does donor funding. And people want to purport as if things are going in the right way. We are not going the right way. I think Uganda is on a time bomb as far as democracy is concerned. And democracy is a right. So no one should be cornered in a corner that, for example, I saw one of the meetings as if it was a lecture meeting. General Museveni lecturing a few general secretaries around. And from, actually, for me, I see it as mockery to the democracy of this country. And I believe as a young generation, it is our turn. We must stand and stand strong and take this country. Maybe we need to give our elders a sense of direction. And that's why things are running berserk in this country. That's why you are seeing grip on power. People are suffering a disease like Moses Ali. You wonder what they are still doing in the field.
David.
So I don't want to go more.
I want you to also talk about the I didn't hear your response to the halting, the directive by the Minister, Honorable Norbert Mao, to the EC to halt disbursement of funding. Where does it put NUP? Does it significantly affect your operations?
Of course, NUP has been suffering the persecution. It is part of the persecution. Actually, Norbert Mao, one who comes from my mighty university, Makerere, I think he has suffered a reciprocal. He has reciprocated himself. If you look at persecution and the Anoroje persecution and its history, for me, I would refer biblically, I would refer to him as one who was Paul and today is Saul, opposing his fellow oppressed and oppressing them, persecuting them. Because in his right note, he was even actually very, very flimsy, and he was taking it light. You can do funding, but of course you can't go beyond 400 millions. Now, would anyone now take him sensible as a man of integrity that we know from a Norbert Mao? We know from Genesis. So I think we don't even need to do so much diving into that, because we know it's all about persecution. Whatever they are doing is not unconstitutional, but two, it violates the principles of democracy in this country. Therefore, for us, we shall do, and for us, we know we're in a revolution.
Thank you, David. Let's take a break and then we return and continue with this discussion on political party mass mobilization and funding. It's after the break.
It is.
Welcome back from the break. It's 19 minutes past 10 o'clock. This is Views People and News here on 933 KFM. I'm your host, Judith Atim. We're discussing political party mass mobilization and funding. Let me come to you now, Mr. Sentongo.
Yes.
Still on the issue of iPod. The president on Tuesday met iPod members. I think that is what Musiri was referring to. There's a proposal to give funding to the parties which don't have representation in parliament, but are loyal to iPod or are registered. Of course, it is just a proposal, but there are some people who, of course, see it as a move to deal with parties like Nope and curtail their activities. But if such a proposal comes through or sails, would you, as NPP, buy this?
Now, as the Secretary General of National Peasants Party, I don't make decisions as an individual. We have now an organ called the National Executive Committee. I wouldn't love the government to directly fund political parties. I would love the parties to have avenues of soliciting funds on its own. And the government must open doors and give space for political parties to go and search for those funds. Because there are entities all over the world that can support political parties. There are parties which are, now for us, is the Socialist Party, there are Democratic parties, things of that sort. We can have alliances with other political vehicles. For the president to come up to say that he's going to directly fund political parties, even if they don't have numerical strength in parliament, that is a direct attack to democracy, I may say. Because even for iPod, before it was put into the amendment, it was an NGO facilitating political parties, not directly the government of Uganda. That one, we must be in a no. So I, for one, I could not buy it as the new Secretary General of the party.
Thank you. Over to you. Do you think this is actually a good proposal that is healthy for democracy to have parties funded even when they don't have representation in parliament, but on the basis of their loyalty to iPod? Do you think this in a way strengthens our democracy?
Well, it's very clear that most of the parties are lacking funds. Very, very clear. Number two, we all know very well that these parties are registered and known by the government. It's not going to be the first thing to be funded by government. All the time when we have well-articulated developments within our country in line with organization and so on, they always seek for funding from government. And if government finds necessity to support them, they are supported. One, most of these parties, as you can see, they are trying to evolve into the future democracy we are talking about on behalf of the nation. Of course, they cannot sometimes have members of parliament because of many challenges which are available. If you don't support them, then what will happen? This nation, recently the president has been in Wachiso. Actually, he's still in Wachiso. Even tomorrow he will be in Wachiso. But he is moving around on the theme of PDM, Paris Development Model. But what is he following up? He's following up resources. Resources to who? To individual families through their parishes. So government has come out to fund many of its activities and other groups and individuals for purposes of developing its people and its nation. So if the parties are supporting democracy, as we all believe, that's why NUP is here with its ideology. That's why now NPP is here with its ideology, and many others, UPs and so on. So what is happening? The government support cannot hinder these parties to continue to fly with their original.
But engineer, sorry to cut you short. But
yes.
I know funding is just one of the many challenges our opposition parties go through. That's not in dispute.
Yes.
However, the other challenge that we also know very well is the high-handedness by the state. The state, NUP has been on the receiving end of state brutality. Years ago, we used to see that happen to FDC. Basically, any opposition that threatens to jostle power from the government becomes a direct recipient of the state brutality. Shouldn't that also be something that the NRM should also consider, saying, okay, in addition to allowing them have funding, can we also allow them the space to do their work in terms of mobilization, let them move freely across the country and sell their agenda to Ugandans just like the NRM does? Isn't that fair enough as well?
I think what happens is that we always look at one side of the coin. There are many reasons why what we call persecution is happening. What is happening now in the nation? Are you hearing any persecution, especially politically? Individually, in their own parties, they are fighting, including NRM. But the government is just watching because there isn't anything which pushes them to go into those areas. Sometimes the challenges are caused by the will or the wish of the people to show their power, that they are in charge and they are coming into power. Whereas at the same time, they are skipping important laws which are already in place. Sometimes you see the police coming in, the various laws which we have had here in the nation. You remember the one for people coming into assembly?
Public order management?
Especially that one. You find that in many cases, our people did not get the authority, but they continued saying that we are allowed, we cannot actually wait for you to allow us. Indeed, in some cases, our operatives in terms of government institutions, they delay to do what they are supposed to do, and they end up actually not giving them space in the right time. But that doesn't stop the law to act. What I can say is that Ugandans who are in those different parties deserve to enjoy the resources which are meant for them in terms of the nation. Not only one party, not only the one with the biggest number of people in parliament, not only those with people in parliament, because each one of them are evolving. I know that NPP will be very happy to receive this money, even when now they cannot easily announce that we are waiting for this money. But when it comes, they will be ready.
That is not true.
I know that at the right time, they will be ready to receive the money.
Of the party.
No, I know. Right now, the position might not be very clear because you have just started sitting down to really look into the right direction. But resources from any point, from any angle, are essential for purposes of growing our democracy through the different parties which have been formally registered. You know very well that in Uganda, when there are elections, all those people, all those presidents, candidates, they are given money, and they are given vehicles, and they are given security.
The money is no longer given to them.
Well, at least they have been given some time back. I will research more on that. But what I know is that they are given security, they are given vehicles as they run their elections. The last elections, what I know is that they were given all those facilities. Why? Because they have already registered and shown interest in becoming the leaders of this nation. So in the same spirit, if you register a party and you have shown interest into changing the ideology or building the democracy we are talking about, there's no reason why you shouldn't be funded. The challenge is how much resources do we have to distribute to all these many parties which are opening up. Maybe this is the spirit in which people who come around quickly saw and they decided to start opening up and even revamping those parties which had slept off.
Thank you, Engineer. Speaking of parties opening up, David, what does this mean to the strength of the opposition when you have so many factions, so many parties emerging every week or so? Does it strengthen the opposition, or does it? I mean, what is your reading of all this?
In the principle of multi-party dispensation, it is everyone's right for people to create parties. The other question would be the intent again. The spirit behind opening up a party and time, seasons should be studied, examined very, very closely. Why? Again, questions will come. Why now? It is good. I want to congratulate my brothers of the National Peasant Party. But why now? Okay. So it will come to whether which party that comes, why now, what is the intention, and it's not only my view, but that's
every election season we always see actually these kinds of formations and parties emerging. But carry on.
Oh, of course, but I mean that's why I was talking about seasons, the timing. But even when it is a ripe season, you don't start to come in when people are harvesting. There is time to go and plant seeds. For one to come, because there are parties that are going to actually emanate maybe around 3 months from now, when we are actually in the season of election. So people will ask, what is their intention? So it's about the intention, but it is actually very normal to have very many vehicles, because at the end of the day, some of them, I think the intention is to have a vehicle, is to have an address. You know, people are looking for address. As the opposition, it is also going to become more stronger when these parties, the change-seeking forces, because we have always had it. Coalition, people should coorate. This is time to coorate. But how do you come on the round table with other political parties? This is what people are looking for, you know? Mm-hmm. So if the intention is to coorate around the opposition, then we shall see them by their action. If their intention is to divide or to oppress, because as you read the book called The Pedagogy of the Oppressed, there are people who oppress the oppressed, while you are all under the captivity. You know, when I don't know when Ingenia Cheyune here and my brother last visited prison, but in prison, that's where that book works well. That you find the RRP, only that these days it has improved, but those days the RRP could cane a fellow prisoner, could give punishments. You know, they would mock, there was bullying and a lot of things. So that is what happens. So, as he said, that maybe it is also a strategy, because he said it himself that it might be a strategy to divide opposition further. I am not saying it is final and it's the fact, but then we shall always examine the intention, the intent, the spirit on which they are anchored on.
So, David, just before I move to Mr. Sentongo, do you think we need a law as a country to regulate campaign financing? Is that necessary? And also, do you think individuals or parties should declare how much they're actually spending for their campaigns?
You see, in the process of enacting a law, one of the things that is put on, emphasis is put on, one, people should, of course, benchmark. Now, if you want to develop a law, how do you are benchmarking with each country? Because even in US, they are fundraising for campaigns. Actually, an individual can also fundraise. If I get the card, then I'll run a GoFundMe. Then why do you regulate it? And it is one thing that draws the participants or the electorates close to the politics. They have to be part of it, and that's the power of the people. I
think the concern here when it comes to the question of regulation is the high commercialization of our politics. Because as we are heading into elections right now, you people are the ones in politics. You're the ones actually spending a lot of money in campaigns right now. And the concern is that because there is no regulation that mandates candidates to declare, there are also opportunities or chances of illicit financing being used to fund campaigns. And this is not just about but it is about the health of our politics as a country.
Yeah, Atim, I think you're right, but the other side of the coin is very different. Because right now as we speak, I think the leading party, the NRA, I would want to call it the NRA, has already monetized politics. That's where we are. And the question is, do we have laws that govern that? For example, if you are found, we have good laws, by the way, in this country. But now the question will be, are they put in practice? For example,
is there a new party called NRA now in this country?
Let me move to you, Mr. Sentongo. Still, again, your views on the issue of transparency of political
parties. Because the one I know is NRMO. So
let's come to you.
First of all, I want to remind Mr. Musiri, Honorable Musiri, that it was around this time, in 2011, on 22nd of July, 2011, when Mr. Musiri and the team converged somewhere and unveiled a party called the National Unity Platform. And for us, we are even earlier than them. Okay? For us, we came on 11th. For them, they came on what? 22nd. The same month, same timing. We are even remaining with the exact, almost the same time. But you made it. I am just wondering how you people think that you have monopoly over space. We are in a multi-party dispensation where people must associate with the political parties they feel they want. 2, you asked about the transparency. The law is already there. When you look at the, I think, Section 14 of Political Parties and Organization Act of 2005, it provides that a party at every end of a financial year must submit its annual returns. Okay? So, the returns, you submit them to with the regulator called the Electoral Commission. And now, I think we don't need any express law to determine on how much someone must fundraise from wherever a person wishes. However, it is incumbent for us, we Ugandans who are in a republic called Uganda, to know that the moment we have an established government, we need to know that it regulates entities. Okay? When we were coming into force, we came by force of a political party. And that political party was registered by that real government you were talking about. You say schools are even managed and regulated still by government, even if it is a private school. That is why the law was put in force for directors to create what they call a school management committee. That is what the government knows. And when you get a problem with your school and you don't have that committee, chairman, you were Mr. Ian was the chairman of Wakiso. This chairman was responsible to send a representative on each school in the district, just to have a watch on how the school is being managed. So with the political parties, we already have established laws. The government does not need to create more laws.
But in cases where individuals abuse, for example, the money at their disposal, if they're abusing state resources, there are issues of money laundering, there are issues of course, abuse of resources, like I've mentioned. Don't you think that puts the country?
But the government has already got remedies upon that. They are courts of law. That is, if you don't file appropriate returns. What does the IGG do in this case?
Thank you. Ian.
Well, I think he has a point when he talks about the existing laws. But the purpose of improving laws is to ease the application of these laws. Some of these laws sometimes become so big, so wide, and quite ambiguous, and sometimes you cannot easily attach them to the challenges we are facing. Worldwide, all countries are suffering challenges of the superpowers. Those people with special needs and requirements, to entrench them into different countries. And because of that, everyone is watchful of their nation to make sure that other than money laundering, wrong people do not actually act behind the curtain by empowering people in the wrong direction. We have seen how many countries have suffered in Africa as a result of some people standing behind the curtain and they are playing the Bugorogos. You think that Ugandans are the ones acting, but actually there are many other people with dubious and unacceptable interests trying to play their roles through the political rhyme, because that's where they can gain their personal interests in terms of what they are doing in their businesses or in their nation. So, improvement of the law or adding more value, more fat on the law is not the challenge. The challenge is, have you had an opportunity to see what your members of parliament, especially those from opposition, are saying about particular laws? Sometimes I'm surprised that when I watch UBC to see what's happening in parliament, sometimes most of the benches are empty when serious laws are being passed. And then you wonder, where is the opposition? Because this is the time when movement is having very few numbers for you to oppose some of these laws. But then, surprisingly, you find that both bench sides are almost empty. And if you watch this, you get dismayed. You say, are we looking for a system which is only talking about money and a few political issues, and then we leave the major areas which are changing laws? Because every time Parliament sits, it's actually debating in most cases new laws, new enactments are being made, and finally you find that the president assents. And there is another law. When the president assents the first time, you can refuse. Maybe second time. It's only at the third time that the president will do what? Will sign. Meaning that there are many opportunities, but you find that most of these laws we are talking about, they pass on the first time and that's the end of the subject matter, as if members of parliament don't know the procedure. So sometimes laws are passed until when they touch you, that's when you know that actually we did not take action at the right time. My view is, if there are issues within these laws, they can still be reviewed. Laws can be reviewed. They are not written in stone. They can be reviewed at the right time. What challenges me is, don't people know that what you need to do is to go back to the ground and drum it until you get many members of parliament on floor so that you can fight some of these laws? Instead of going to the street, instead of going to the studios like here, we will not actually achieve our goal. Those especially who are interested in having issues or things done in the other direction. All Ugandans need peace, me inclusive. If they are beating new people in my village, you think I'm safe? If they are putting tear gas in my area, you think I'm safe? I'm not. We need peace. And if there are any issue which are talked about towards peace, we will all stand together, we will actually develop the same ideology, and at the end of the day, we'll do the right thing. But the challenge is, you who is telling us to change the nation and so on and so forth, what are you doing in your own house? Sometimes people peep into our houses. When we talk on the street that our children must dress properly, things must be done properly, and then your children are walking on the street when their trousers are below their... and the girls are just raising the skirts above half the thigh. And then you are saying they should dress properly. The people say, peep into your house. So sometimes our parties also must check themselves, because if you are talking about sanity, it must appear to be there in your own house. If you are talking about proper accountability, it must be heard that in your house you're okay. If you are talking about proper selection of members of parliament or whatever, it must appear to be done in your house. So in the same way, people will use you as an example. Ugandans are very quick at giving Rwanda as an example in situations of sanitation and so on. And everybody seems to be agreeing with Rwanda. That means if you do something better, people will notice it. In my view, I think, one, we should safeguard our nation, because elections can turn out to be managed by people whom we cannot easily throw out of our country if they fund, and at the end of the day, those people they have funded become the leaders. Secondary, internal controls must also appear to be there, because you cannot tell who is going to give money and for what purpose, what are their aims. However, like you said, our moderator, the issue of monetized politics must actually also be checked. We are facing a lot. As a contender on LOC5 candidature for LC5, I can tell you we are going through a lot.
On average, what's the cost?
Well,
between now and election time, how much on average would you have spent?
I don't want police to come and check for my pass.
Okay, what are your colleagues telling you? What's the average?
No, I've faced it many times, but what I can tell you, people are selling their houses in the city. That's enough.
Yeah, true.
Okay, that is so again, left unchecked, what would this mean for us?
So it's just self-explanatory that any controls which can reduce money inflows can cut down on expenditure, because if there isn't enough money for Plan A to spend, then Plan B will not also spend as much.
Okay.
Because the pressure comes from one side spending a lot, which pushes the other one also to match it up by also spending. And then the electorate, the people whom we are searching votes from, will say, so and so gave us so much. What about you? You are in power.
Yeah, but it also robs us, the voters, of competent leaders who might not have the money.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you.
Exactly.
So it's time for us to take a break, and then when we return, we're going to open our phone lines. But also after the break, we would like to know, especially from NPP and other parties, what their strategies are in terms of it's a costly political season and our politics is very costly, but how are you guys strategizing? For example, what will help NPP to run their campaign that they've not done before? We'd also like to hear from you. So let's take a break now, and then we will open our studio lines and also hear from our guests. This is Vip. Welcome back from the break. Our phone lines are open now, 0393 933 933, 0393 262 933, 0393 262 934, 0393 266 933, 0701 933 934, 0751 933 900. Call us and let us know what you think about the discussion we're having on political party mass mobilization and funding. And we are having a disagreement actually right now. Do you think we need a law, or should we have a cap on how much individuals and parties can actually spend in their campaigns? Just let us know what you think.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Komakej. I'm calling from Mukono.
Yes, Komakej from Mukono. Please let us know what you think.
The first point is that I don't know why police have not yet summoned the leadership of NRM over election violence. It is the fact that political campaigns, ongoing political campaigns, cannot be held. For example, if the EC itself decide to adopt the same tactics by NRM, what would then happen to our elections? The second point is, it's like government is trying to, where a government has failed to look after one child and now wants to adopt more children. What does it mean? Providing for political parties. You first of all, lead to an aspect where you have so many children coming up. That's the political parties. Two, the fact that even in our own government institutions, we have failed to account for funds. How is the political parties going to account for those funds? The third part is that I think the NRM as a party is basically trying to use legal means to basically, let me use the word, stifle money from public funds. So my argument at the end of the day is that let political parties be given space, look for their own money, and leave the issue of regulations where government basically look, where have you got your money from?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Komakej. Hello. Hello. Do give us a call. The lines are still on. Let us know what you think on this discussion of political party mass mobilization and funding. Should parties be funded by the government, or should they be allowed to look for money on their own? Also, what do you think about campaign financing, the money that our politicians are spending in their campaigns? Should there be a cap? Should there be a regulation? Hello?
Juma is on.
Juma?
Yes, please. Juma.
Good morning. Yes, good morning, Juma.
Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Now, why not that iPad money first to see, hold on. Then we see where the financial muscles of the mushrooming parties in Uganda start from. That's why some of them has made politics is a commercial service.
have turned it into occupation. That when I go to politics, I will earn more, which is not giving us a service delivery. Number two, the ruling party has got much advantage and they are moving freely. Even police have no idea at all about asking them whereabouts. But what came to my mind always is wherever opposition political parties, they are gathering for their official as institution, which is already established, and they tend to ask them to first go and seek for permission from police. Is it also happening with the NRM people? Are they also doing the same?
Thank you, Juma. Thank you. Oh. Okay, I think if we don't have any other calls, we could actually, I'll give you guys the microphone to respond. Komakech says, why has police not yet summoned NRM over election violence? I think, Engineer, you'll respond to that. And he thinks providing for political parties is unsustainable, creates a problem for unclear accountability. I'll start with you, Engineer. Hello? We have another caller?
Yes, Judith. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for the show.
You're welcome.
This is Ekode.
Ekode, kindly proceed.
Yes. And to the guest, good morning. And to my fellow Gen Z, Mr. David Msiri.
Good morning, my brother.
Yes, Ekode.
Now, you have discussed very crucial topics today. And over next time, if time wishes, bring them back. But my point here, which I observe, Noop gave us reasons why they left iPod. And I don't know how government took it. And I don't know if the real also come up to address those issues.
Yes, Michael. Hello? We are losing you. I think we'll just have to drop that call. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. May I please know who I'm talking to?
Please, Dr. Kwara, I'm calling from Kampala.
Dr. Kwaro, please proceed.
Yes, an election in Uganda will not bring peace and stability. Dialogue will. You cannot have an election where you are locking other people. Dr. Besgie has been in prison for over 200 days now. And you organize an election, and you think you are going to have an election which can be believed by citizens. It is just a joke. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Doctor. Yes, I think let's just stop receiving the calls now. We are running out of time, really. Just your response, Dr. Ian. We have just 6 minutes, actually, to leave. So if you could just do it very quickly.
Very few people remember that I'm now a doctor or PhD.
Oh.
So when I heard you saying Dr. Ian, then I said, how did she know?
No, I no. The person who called is Dr. Ekwaro. Actually, I didn't even know. Dr. Ian. Yes. Very, very good. So Dr. Engineer, please proceed.
Well, what is important is that when you have a family, doesn't mean that because you have a small saucepan, you don't divide the food as much as you can. When the necessity comes, you share with all your family members, whatever the circumstance. The development of this nation has been built on the thinking that we should allow political parties to emerge, be registered, and be part of our system. So we cannot just throw them out. The delay could be because the past was as small as it was that time. But if there are opportunities showing that the past is growing every day, even as we look at our national budget, the difference between 1986 budget and 2025 budget is self-explanatory, that there is some level of growth in income in terms of the national income. Whatever we are looking at right now is only to grow and strengthen the democracy which everybody is yearning for. The difference is, how do you perceive what we are doing at this time? I believe that those parties which are not yet even in parliament are actually arguing this to happen, despite the fact that some of them can keep quiet for the time being. So I think, members, we should not be derailed by the thinking that it has a negative part. Instead, we should look at the positive point of view. Secondary, it has very little to do with stifling money. Money can be stifled in many ways. This one actually is a risky money. If money is going to NOP, and today you don't send it to NOP, what do you expect? They will shout it out immediately. NPP, if it has to receive 7 billion and doesn't get it, automatically they will announce it on the highest mountain possible. So stifling money in terms of the money we are giving out, or the government is supposed to give out to parties, could be a rare opportunity to anyone, and can turn out to be very challenging. I know that the ruling party has been operating, and some people think that it violates the Public Management Act. But as far as I know, we have also a concept which is very challenging. If someone says that is your opposer, what do you think of immediately? Every time he's doing something, you want to be sure, is he going to oppose in the right direction? So opposition, when it is going to act, it must be very clean to the extent that it will show that it's following all the available laws. Because already the nation is looking at them in that form. But as far as I'm concerned, I think everybody who incited violence in NRM activities has been put to book and is facing the hand of the law.
Yes, Mr. Sentongo.
Yes.
Yes, your very quick thoughts, your reactions to the calls that we've received. There was a concern about providing for political parties, that it creates a problem when it comes to accountability. And Juma says, let government, the iPod money should be held. Let's wait and see the financial muscles of the mushrooming parties before they can be trusted to actually be given some money.
And of course, for us, we are not having any numerical strength in Parliament. We are going to look for our own funds. And it is I'm one of those people who don't believe that the government should come out to support parties directly. Before the iPod came into force, political parties were looking out for their own funds elsewhere, and they were surviving. Parties like DP, parties like UPC, parties like FDC, things went off-road when iPod came into force. And I want to assure every Ugandan that the National Peasants Party is going to survive, and we are here to live.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
I think there is need. I have seen and I have heard a colleague talk about the dialogue. I think, Doctor, that there is no need to run for elections. But how do you dialogue when the person who is calling you for dialogue is putting the boot on your neck and putting your hands on handcuffs? You cannot dialogue. He's only calling you for submission, and that shouldn't be. For dialogue should not be forced. Dialogue should be reaching a consensus. You come on a round table. You cannot dialogue with General Museveni when he's just lecturing you as a professor or as a grandfather. Politics is not about the age, whether you are old and we are contesting on the same position, we are equal as per that. So I think there should be respect. And to my brother Ian here, who said that he sees people violating the law and he doesn't see now persecution, I think maybe he's from the diaspora. But for example, Eddie Motwe violated which law when he was going for just a prayer of a baptism?
Thank you.
Up there.
Thank you very much, David. So thank you very much to you all, gentlemen. Engineer Ian Cheyune, Mr. David Musiri, and Mr. Nambale Sentongo Sharif, for your insights and your views on this show. We've been talking about political party mass mobilization and funding. Thank you very much to all of you, our listeners, and those who called in. Sorry we couldn't take as many phone calls as we would have loved to, but hopefully next time we'll do better. My name is Judith Atim. I'm your host. This is Views, People and News on KFM. It is bye-bye from me to you, and from the production crew, Mr. Steven Bide, and all the rest of the team behind the scenes. Thank you very much. The VPN show returns next Saturday. Until then, but again, as we wind up, we send our condolences to the family of Aloysius Atwine, a videographer attached to the business desk of Nation Media Group, who died this morning. Burial arrangements will be communicated. Also, condolences to the NMG colleagues' families and the family of our other colleague, Mr. Henry Mulindo, who was buried on Thursday. We do send our sympathies to you all. May God rest their souls in eternal peace. For you all who've been listening, bye-bye. VPN returns next Saturday. Until then.